The shadow over Hadley Cross Autumn came unexpectedly quickly to Hadley Cross. Rainy mornings, grey mists over the fields, and the smell of damp in old houses reinforced the sense of mystery that has always hovered over this quiet village in Surrey. A body was found in the Maple Grove house, which stood a little way from the main street. Sir Reginald Burrows, a retired diplomat known for his harshness and boundless distrust of everyone, was killed. His body was found in the morning by Mary's maid. Sir Reginald was lying in an armchair in his office with a book in his hands and a look of horror on his face. The window was ajar, and there were traces of dirt on the sill. Dr. Hudson, the local therapist, pronounced death by cyanide poison, and although at first it looked like suicide, Inspector Lorimer of the Canterbury Police soon rejected this version. "If it were poison, sir," he said, turning to the local vicar, "the book wouldn't be in your hands." And the expression of horror speaks of surprise. He didn't know he was drinking death. Almost immediately, all the main defendants were in the house. Miss Evelyn Burrows, the deceased's niece, has been living with him for the last 2 years. She was beautiful, but reserved. The servants said that he and his uncle had frequent quarrels over the inheritance. Captain Douglas Maynard, a former army comrade of Burrows. He arrived on the eve of his death. It seemed to be by invitation, but no one saw the invitation. Mrs. Winters, the housekeeper. She worked in the house for more than 10 years. People in the village respected her, but many believed that she knew much more than she was letting on. Mr. John Crane, Sir Reginald's lawyer. I've been visiting him a lot, and I've been coming almost daily for the last few weeks. Things got complicated after it turned out that on the same evening that Burrows died, he called Crane and told him to prepare a new will. In it, he was going to change the beneficiary. The lawyer could not say who exactly was supposed to receive the entire fortune. Burrows did not have time to give a name. "The will hasn't been signed," Crane said. "All I have is a verbal instruction and a draft which I took home with me to finalize. Inspector Lorimer enlisted the help of a man whose reputation has long gone beyond the county, Mr. Arthur Farnsworth, a private detective with impeccable logic and old-fashioned manners. By the time Farnsworth arrived at Hadley Cross, the village was already preoccupied with murder. He was interested not only in who killed Sir Reginald, but also why. And to answer this question, it was necessary to understand the past. "Everyone is like an iceberg," Farnsworth said, studying the books in the deceased's library. 9/10 of it is under the surface, especially in English villages. He started with Evelyn. She confessed that she had indeed quarreled with her uncle. He was going to give most of his fortune to charity. He said that wealth spoils character, especially women. She added softly. Captain Maynard was more difficult. He claimed that he had come to dinner and wanted to ask Burrows for help with investments, but his name wasn't in the guest book. "He was looking for something in the study," the housekeeper said. "I saw him come out later, after Sir Reginald had gone to bed." "That's a lie," the captain exclaimed, but Farnsworth only raised an eyebrow slightly. When the body was exhumed for re-examination, traces of macaroons were found in the stomach. The evening before his death, Sir Reginald ate it with tea. But it's just him. Farnsworth asked for a box of cookies. There was one thing missing. The cookies contained traces of cyanide. Someone replaced one of them. "The killer didn't expect to die quickly," Farnsworth said. But the poison was stronger than expected, and now he hopes that everyone will think differently. That night he went outside. The wind was blowing leaves across the gravel and the windows of the houses were dark. But the light was still on in Lawyer Crane's office. Farnsworth returned in the morning with results that changed the whole investigation. In the morning, as promised, Arthur Farnsworth was back at the Maple Grove house. His face was focused, his movements confident. All the suspects were invited into the living room where the detective was going to announce his findings. The murder of Sir Reginald Burroughs is not a matter of passion but of calculation, he began. And the key is not only in the box of macaroons, but also in the draft of the will that Mr. Crane said he was going to rewrite. Mr. Crane, who was sitting by the fireplace, stiffened. Please, you can't make such statements without proof. Farnsworth narrowed his eyes. I have proof. I visited your office in the village last night, Mr. Crane. You were busy with paperwork. I noticed the trash can and allowed myself to extract a few crumpled sheets from it. Among them was a draft of a will. Not at all the one that you supposedly started drafting after a phone call from Sir Reginald. He took out a neatly folded piece of paper. This will has already been signed and dated the evening before his death. It leaves the entire estate to Miss Evelyn Burroughs. What? Miss Evelyn cried out, turning pale. But I didn't know anything about it. I believe you, Farnsworth said. You were used. Mr. Crane destroyed the will because he was sure that its authenticity would be impossible to prove. However, he was mistaken. There are Burroughs' fingerprints on the paper, and most importantly, traces of ink that match the pen in his office. The letter is written in his handwriting. Crane stood up, his face flushed. That's nonsense. You have no proof that I was in the house on the night of the murder. On the contrary, Farnsworth replied. Mrs. Winters, the housekeeper, confirmed that she saw a man in a hat coming in from the back door that night. And this morning I found a raincoat in your office with dirt stains matching the one on the windowsill of the office. You entered through the window, poisoned the cookies, and then, taking advantage of your position, changed the will. We hoped that no one would suspect the lawyer. Crane sank back into his chair. I deserve that money. I served him faithfully for 20 years, and he wanted to give everything to this ungrateful girl. You forged a will, the detective continued. But we missed that one too. The forgery did not match the wording typical of Sir Reginald. He was a pedant. I even made mistakes the same way. Your copy was too perfect. Inspector Lorimer stood up. I think we should go to the station, Mr. Crane. When the lawyer was taken away, silence fell in the room. Evelyn still looked shocked. I had no idea he could do this, she whispered. Farnsworth went to the window and looked out at the awakening village. Hadley Cross, like any other village, keeps its secrets behind the facades of brick houses and calm smiles. But the truth always comes out, if you know how to listen and observe. Later, at the vicarage, where Farnsworth was staying during the investigation, they drank tea and discussed what had happened. Tell me, Arthur, the vicar asked. How did you know Crane was the killer? Farnsworth smiled. He made one mistake. He knew too much. Before the cause of death was confirmed, he had already mentioned the poison. No one but the doctor knew that. I immediately realized that either he was very attentive or he was guilty. What's going to happen to Miss Burroughs now? I think she'll make a good hostess at Maple Grove. Money, fortunately or unfortunately, goes to those who don't ask for it. A month after Crane's arrest, the court found him guilty of murder. The newspapers described it as the case of a London lawyer and a big cookie. Miss Evelyn really stayed in the house. She founded a foundation in memory of her uncle, giving part of her inheritance to help young lawyers who were honest and selfless. As for Arthur Farnsworth, he soon left Hadley Cross, leaving behind only a mysterious note to the vicar. Peace does not come from silence, but from the clarified truth. And the truth is always a matter of taste. See you soon. AF.